This is not grandstanding.
Exactly
this is
what
accountability.
Minnesotans hate about D.C.
This is accountability, and you are hypocrites.
Okay, so it has been an explosive day on Capitol Hill with outbursts, attacks, shouting matches, and more as congressional Democrats attack and highlight the insane hypocrisy of MAGA's own corruption while in hearings over the alleged fraud happening in Minnesota. It's actually pretty impressive to see these Democrats standing up, fighting back, and defending the people of Minnesota and not caving to the demands and the insane racist framing of these right-wingers on the fraud case that's happening in the state. However, in no surprise at all, in a congressional hearing today, the MAGA lunatic Nancy Mace was spewing some absolute racist garbage, while the Democrats took this opportunity to force some accountability out of these barbaric charlatans.
Can you name one significant contribution to Minnesota from a Somali immigrant who can't speak English?
Absolutely, yes. But again, this is...
You didn't name one. All right, so my next questions are going to be...
Ah, yes, Nancy Mace. You totally won that argument. You know, just like refusing to let the person you're asking a question to speak. That's the best way to win an argument right there. Masterful play, really. You look totally normal and competent as a person in a position of power. For sure. Before we continue, if you like what you see, leave a like on this video down below and subscribe to the channel. It really is the best and easiest way to share your support. It would mean a lot to us and we really appreciate it. All right, let's move on. This whole hearing was a mess of pointing fingers and racist attacks, but when congressional Democrats finally began to speak, instead of caving to the right-wing framing on this issue and going along with the narrative, they stood up for the people of Minnesota and said, hold on, wait a minute. Let's hold up a mirror to you scammers, you MAGA GOP scammers, the ones who have done fraud on levels that we could not even possibly imagine. Let's take a look at what you guys are doing. Here's Jasmine Crockett doing just that.
For 12 months, this administration has been taking billions of taxpayer dollars from American people and have been giving it away to their own companies in the form of tax cuts, government contracts, or other government funded subsidies. So Congress has a role in getting rid of fraud, I will admit that, in any federally funded government program. However, I think the fraud that the American people are concerned about is that the Republicans are taking away Americans' health care so that ultra billionaires can get more tax cuts. The real fraud is the dehumanization and demonization of the working class Americans and immigrants to distract folks away from corporate socialism that's happening because of the Republicans.
Okay, I feel like this is the millionth time I've said this. Yes, fraud is bad. That is like kindergarten knowledge at this point, right? We know that scamming people is bad. We have systems in place to punish the people who are convicted of fraud. Good, we should be done with the matter. But to point all of the fingers at Minnesota, while the Trump administration is guilty of fraud at the levels of billions of dollars, funneling taxpayer dollars out of the pockets of hardworking, middle-class, working-class Americans and giving it to the richest 1% of the 1% in the form of tax cuts and environmental regulations and building regulations, all of this is completely scamming the American people, and we aren't supposed to call that out. Seriously, at this point, if a Republican does it, it's good, and then if a Democrat does it, it's bad, right? It's illegal and woke and nonsense and bad. That's where we are now. These people are just ridiculous, but just wait, okay, because it gets even better. Here's Summerlee.
We represent the people of our district, Democrat or Republican. We represent as the federal government all people of all states, irrespective of how they voted. That's the charge that I took, and I would like and hope that you all would do the same. When so many of these social service programs are being gutted and defunded, fraud becomes even more harmful, as that means even less money is going to people who need it. People need these programs. This situation should be an opportunity to take a deep look at the programs and improve their oversight abilities, not an excuse to cut them entirely. If we care about the most vulnerable, if we care about the most marginalized, this is an opportunity to do so, and I welcome us to actually do that one day.
One thing Summerlee did forget about here is that Republicans don't give a shit about the most vulnerable people in our population, so they won't do anything to help them anyway. If it impacts their bottom line, they're not going to do it, right? Because if it hurts them or their corporate donors, then of course it's just off the table entirely. She just must have forgot about that. Summerlee then fights back at the chairman, just completely dismissing her idea in the best way. Check it out.
Ms. Lee, the IGs are hired to identify fraud. They haven't identified fraud. The IGs have failed. But anyway.
You all have failed.
No,
you all continue to fail. We've done nothing. You've had the gavel, Mr. Comer. We barely do hearings on anything that actually affects change. You have power here, and yet you don't do anything. Yes, he actually initiated this, sir, but thank you so much for your opinion.
See, this is how you fight back against Republicans, right? I don't know what they were feeding these congressional Democrats today, but they're actually taking advantage of this shitty situation and putting Republicans on the back foot, putting them on the defensive while defending working class Americans. Like, the Democratic Party should be doing this across the board. More mass adoption of this, please. Just a reminder again, if you're liking the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and watch this video until the end because the Dems have so much more smoke for these MAGA sycophants. Here's Ayanna Pressley, and this might be the best of them all.
Donald Trump pardoned George Santos, who defrauded voters and owed them $370,000 in restitution to victims. Raise your hand if you oppose this pardon. Thank you, Mr. Balloon.
Ma'am, I would have to look at the law and the facts of the case. We cannot know the facts of all these individual cases.
Don't deflect. This is a very public case. You know who George Santos is. You know exactly what he did. We just agreed that, fraud is unacceptable. And you just talked about accountability. You said if people commit fraud and exploit the public good, that they should be incarcerated. So this is not a complicated question. So I will give you all one more opportunity. Ms. Robbins, Mr. Hudson, and Ms. Rarick, raise your hand if you oppose the pardon of George Santos.
Not playing this game.
It's not a game. It's real life. It's not a game at all. Okay, but I will take your refusal to go on record, not only as cowardice, but that you do agree with that pardon of that fraudster. Moving on.
Fraud for me, but not for thee. The official campaign slogan of every MAGA lunatic in 2026. These people are so dense, right? Claiming you don't know the George Santos case when you're sitting on a congressional panel talking about fraud. Pressley here is putting these absolute buffoons in their place, lighting the fire underneath them, and just making them look like the hypocritical, moronic charlatans that they really are. And we're not done yet. Representative Robert Garcia here, brilliant, shows just how corrupt all of this really is.
And we all know that recently, here in Florida, President Trump granted a get-out-of-jail-free pardon to Philip S. Forms. Now, Mr. S. Forms is a nursing home mogul convicted of schemes to defraud Medicare and Medicaid of $1.3 billion. Where is that hearing? This guy just didn't steal from taxpayers. He took advantage of thousands of people, admitting them to nursing homes and living facilities that could not help them.
He must not realize that Trump's got to protect his con artist criminal friends because, where else is he going to get his funding from?
The president plans to freeze more than $10 billion for child care subsidies, social services, and cash support for low-income families in Minnesota, New York, Colorado, Illinois, and my home state of California. Of course, we know these states have Democratic governors that Donald Trump wants to punish. And we should look at those consequences if we want to talk about fraud. In Minnesota, which we're talking about today, Donald Trump is removing child care funding for the entire state. That frozen funding provides child care for over 18,000 kids. These kids didn't commit fraud. So I want to know why they should be punished.
I feel like we've known this for months, that Trump is targeting specifically blue states, but to the levels that he has gone, the depravity of it all, it really does boggle the mind. And it's so open and transparent. Like, he's literally just limiting the funding to the most Democratic blue states like California, Minnesota, New York, Illinois. It's intentional and we all know it, and yet no one is doing anything about it, and people are finally speaking up. It's ridiculous. But if you can believe it, it does not end there. There was another panel today where Republicans thought that today, of all days, would be a beneficial day to discuss legislation on the definition of showerheads. Yeah, now's the time. And Representative Stansbury did not let them hear the end of it. Take a look.
And you all are sitting here running legislation on showerheads while millions of Americans' health insurance is expiring, while millions of Americans can't even put food on the table right now. And you're over here parading around state officials, demonizing immigrants, talking about cutting basic programs, and you're passing legislation to redefine showerheads in Congress while the President of the United States is illegally invading foreign countries.
Order.
See, this is how you put Republicans on the defensive. You cannot let up. You cannot go silent or go along with their framing or demands, right? Because then you look like the moron. You look like the one who is in the wrong. If you have a position and then you change it, then you look like the hypocrite. And the Democrats have done that time and again. And it's finally time that there is a stand-up and a fight to push back against this insanity. The Democrats are the opposition minority party right now, and they have powers and responsibilities for a reason. We have that for a reason. Every chance they get, they need to stop the process. They need to look these Republicans in the eyes and make sure that cameras and microphones are pointing at them, and they need to make sure that everyone can see the Republicans for who they are, barreling this country towards this autocratic shit show run by the most incompetent morons you could possibly imagine. We need more action like this. We need more publicity like this. People who are actually willing to put up a fight, use the powers that they have to get what they want across, to get their demands across and their voices heard. That is exactly what we need more of here. But I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video or want to see more like it, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the Raw America channel. It really is the best and easiest way to show your support, and it's free. So do us a favor, help out, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video, comment down below, and have a nice day. Goodbye.